We
Ooh.
are live.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Is Today the Day podcast. We're broadcasting live right now from a scenario that's sweeping across the nation. Everyone's well aware of it. Everyone has a little bit of fear in their throat, but I would hope that there's also anticipation for good things to come. So we're broadcasting today out of Discord because our bunker was shut down due to coronavirus. It was a terrible bunker. So anyways,
There was
we're
that
gonna-
Rona everywhere, bro.
Rona was all over that, so we had to bounce out of there, and we're broadcasting from home, and this is our first ever Discord podcast where we're all just relying on IT and the will and strength of, ourselves.
Praying
So-
to God that everything turns out okay.
Yeah, praying to God. So, Lord, thank you for bringing us together tonight. Thank you for protecting us from the virus, Lord. Lord, I pray for the people all over this nation, Lord. I pray that panic cease and logic reign. I pray, Lord, that you protect our families from all things to come, be it man or biological. Lord, thank you for everything you do. I pray for our president, Lord. I pray that he makes the right decision in lieu of this terrible pandemic. Lord, thank you very much for just making it possible to do this tonight, Lord. We say this in your blessed name. Amen.
Amen.
That's great, it starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes, an aeroplane. Lenny Bruce is not afraid. Eye of a hurricane, listen to yourself churn. World serves its own needs, don't serve your own needs. Speed it up a knock, speed, grunt, no strength, no ladder, structure clatter with the fear of height down. Hide wire in a fire, represent the 7 games in a government for hire in a combat site. Lefter wasn't coming in a hurry with the furies breathing down your neck. Team by team reporters baffled, Trump tethered crop. Look at that blow plane fine. Overflow population common group, but it'll do. Save yourself, serve yourself. World serves its own needs. Listen to your heart bleed. Tell me with the rapture and the reverence and the right. You vitriolic, patriotic, slam fight, bright light, feeling pretty sight. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. 6 o'clock TV hour, don't get caught in fights. Hours sliced and by right side. Listen to yourself, try. Like a man, uniform and blood, lighting every man and escalate on top of him instead of light. I can't do light him out and step down. Watch your hell crash down. Let's push out back, give a lot, renegade inside, clear and turn him light. Solution off from the alternatives and light decline. The end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. The internet drift the nights, drift the metal, drift and fly. Outside at a line, let it proceed. Let it press down, let it proceed. Let your pain, but that body change, scaring till it vapors. Symbiotic, patriotic, slam button, yeah, right. It's the end of as we know it. It's the end of as we know it. It's the end of as we know it. And I feel that's the end of the world as we know it. That's the end of the world as we know it. That's the end of the world as we know it. And it's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine.
Hope you enjoyed that little song there, ladies and gentlemen. Hoping everybody's back.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, we're here. I was just trying to post the link about this, and Facebook said it's against their community standards.
For
No clue. It just says this post goes against our community standards on spam. I must have tagged too many people in it, I guess.
huh?
I guess it's because it's like a link or something. Well, in any case, Warspirit, if you'll share that around for me, because Facebook is apparently angry that I tagged so many people, which is because I was very excited for this podcast because we have capabilities and people could like actually go about seeing it. But at the same time, I am aware that like Facebook and YouTube, you know, on that note, are purely relying on algorithm at this time.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
because both
yeah.
their employees are.
Yeah, so they probably were like any posts that are like for 21 because I only tagged 21 people in it. Oh, only 21, right? But anyways, I tagged 21 people in it, and it said no. It said none of that. Quit it. And so I don't know what that was about. I was a little worried at first. I was like, uh-oh, is it because it has the word coronavirus in it? Is it like some kind of campaign to like stop the misspread of information? I don't know. But anyways,
It's because of the Chinese don't want to hit that, John.
Right, the Chinese. Which, speaking on that same deal, I loved it because, you know, Trump was, you know, he was like in a briefing or whatever with the nation, like he was addressing the nation or whatever, right? The press. And one of the press people like, so you called it the Chinese racist, or you called it the Chinese virus. You do understand that's, oh dear, you do believe that's racist? And he's like, no, because it comes from China. Which I love personally. Like, I mean, yeah, that's the guy I voted for. It's common sense. Well, it comes from China. It's not racist at all.
Well, I mean, it's the same. I mean, there's arguments that reside even the Spanish flu. I mean, the Spanish influenza. You know what I mean? It was the same concept there.
Right. It's like, you know, and even this, you know, the Spanish didn't complain about it, and that was a different time. I mean, nobody knew what
that's true.
Nobody knew what racism was.
Right.
Like everyone was just mean to everybody back in the 20s.
Oh my gosh, dude!
What?
I just looked up Spanish flu from January to December, so it took about 2 years, and 50,000 people died.
50,000 people died in 2 years.
Or it's not 50,000. Sorry, 50 million. I can read numbers. I can read numbers.
I was about to say, I'm like, bro, that's not that bad. Like
January 1918 to December 1920.
No.
is when the
No, it
period
was a
was
terrible
active.
flu. They
Yeah,
really
Yeah.
it was
called it the
pretty
second
gnarly.
the second plague.
And at the time, you have to realize there was only about 1 billion people on the Earth.
Right, that's true.
No kidding. Oh, that's
And
weird
so,
to think.
so 50 million was quite a bit.
Yeah, which is down. Yeah, and the thing about the Spanish flu, and people like compare it, it's actually very different. I mean, because immediately the media and everything, oh, it's the next Spanish flu, mother hubba, no,
Right.
because the Spanish flu was like, if you got it in the 1920s, it would either kill you in a week or like hours.
Mm-hmm.
It was like instant death, and which is miraculous that it's, well, not miraculous in a good way, but like astounding that it spread quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It was very quick. Like maybe not as contagious as the coronavirus. I mean, the fact that the coronavirus has shown up across all 50 states is like that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
In a very short amount of time, because we were talking about it almost like it feels like 3 weeks ago we did our first it was a month ago that we did our first thing in China. You know what I mean? Because Wuhan and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing that show, and here we stand a month later, and it's like it is weird. It's like, hey, everybody, we're closed down. Like everybody, all the restaurants in Farmington are shut down. All the jobs that are not applicably necessary are like shut down and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of stigma and there's a lot of worry because a lot of people have lost their jobs in lieu of this, which I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which that's something we'll pray about here at the end. And if I don't, please remind me. But that's it's bizarre. Like I don't know. Like we're doing our shows from the house, and it took a virus for us to figure it out.
Yeah.
So there's that, and you're broadcasting, right? Like your mic and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I got everything covered.
Yeah, we're in a weird climate, and that's what I asked you the other day. I was like, could you name something we did in the past? Because I don't feel like this is real life right now. Because it was just, I've had dreams about this, and I don't mean to make anybody like, oh my God, he's a fortune teller, and not that anybody would do that, and I'm not claiming that, but I had my first dream, which was like a few months ago before any of this broke out, was about a quarantine, and the news and people were freaking out, and it resulted in people were quarantined, but nobody was sick. I remembered that much.
Yeah.
And and then later I had a dream about a certain virus that started with a K, and that's all I remembered from the dream, and it was like terrible because people were just dying like left and right. So yeah, these dreams kind of clash, because it's like one is like nobody's hurt and the other one is like everyone's dying.
Right.
So, it's take it with a pinch of salt, but it is interesting that I started dreaming about viruses and crap like that like a month before this. And I don't really have nightmares often, it's very infrequent. And when I do dream, I usually can tell I'm dreaming. That was not the case with these.
Right.
So.
Well, it's funny you should mention that as far as your two dreams, John, because
Right.
I was talking to a coworker the other day, and we were just talking about how, like, it seems like everything with this virus, it either feels like you're freaking out way too much, or nothing, or it's the opposite, like nobody's doing enough.
Right.
And it kind of like at times you feel like it's you feel this, you have those both feelings at the same time.
Right. Precisely. And it's stressful. Like even right now, just talking about it, it's like, oh, I've been trying to distract myself because, there's a little bit of an uneasy feeling. And that's everywhere. And that, it's in the show notes, which I need to pull up on the email real quick. But it's...
Well, right. It's me and you went to the farmer's market a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And what do their faces look like, John?
Yeah, they're scared, man.
Yeah.
They look like... Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. Ever sneezed, and I guess he had his mic muted for you guys. But anyways,
Rona!
You got coronavirus. But Oh, Google's telling me that. Yeah. Yeah, we went to Farmers Market. That's the one on Flora Vista. And we were visiting for a little bit, and we were just kind of, we heard that the cans over there were still good. I doubt that's the case anymore, but
I heard somebody told me today. Well, I mean, I think it was a family member of mine was gonna go shop at Shamrock because they had just got a huge shipment of meats, potatoes, fresh produce, and canned goods.
Yeah, they usually did.
And there was a line outside of the door.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was hearing that like at Sam's, it was around the freaking building.
Yeah. Somebody sent me a photo of it. It was well, it was on Facebook.
Had
I actually
people
think
not
it was
panic bought and just kind of chilled out, this wouldn't be an issue.
All right, and this
Yeah.
people wouldn't be shutting down businesses over it. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
Like people would not be that scared. Because this isn't our first time dealing with a new virus. The swine flu killed quite a bit of people too, and this didn't go this way.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the businesses that were shut down were because the governor shut them down. But
yeah.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. It's like this media and panic kind of gives them that okay because they know everyone's gonna be like, yeah, good idea because it's obviously bad because people are freaking out.
Well, here's the thing I was talking about again with another friend of mine. The thing with this is everybody, anything you do, everybody's going to think to a certain point, oh, you're overreacting. But think about it. If we overreact a little bit and quell this, stop it quick, then yes, in the end, people will be like, look, they did all this and nothing happened. But nothing happened because we overreacted and shut everything down.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of shutting things down and slowing down the infection, there's 43 people? Is that what we have now?
Yes, 43 right now in New Mexico.
In New Mexico,
Right.
that number is doubled in a week.
Right, and yeah, as we were saying, me and Warspirit went down to the farmers market, and I mean, I'd been, and it was always the same whenever I went. Like when this stuff started, is people are just kind of worried, and they're just kind of like. They have this general like misery about them, and they're just they're frowning. They're just kind of looking about, and they're angry. Some of them, I remember that, like some of them were just kind of disgruntled. They weren't like violent, but they were like, you'd say hi to them, and they're just like, meh, you know what I mean? And of course, that would happen when everyone thinks everyone else is an idiot,
Right?
And there's nothing you really do about that, but. I remember being Warspirit. We were just sitting there in the midst of all these sad faces, and there was this 80s song on the radio playing, and we both danced in place. Excuse me.
Yeah, it was pretty funny because. Well, mute your mic then. There you go. Yeah, we was looking at it, and it was pretty funny because we're dancing around, and nobody even looks at us. Like nobody even gives us like two glances.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they're just kind of like, we got like, some people would look at us, but they're still just frowning. They're just like, no, there's no comedic relief or anything. They didn't want that. They were just, nope, angry or sad or scared, mostly fear. And, that's what fear is. It's a mixture of all three. It's anger, scaredness, and sadness, because what's happened, what's come over this nation is, well, it's unpleasant. And I know that's like a stupid thing to say, but that's genuine. And, there's a lot of stress and people don't show it. And they're like, well, I'm not worried about it. But, on the deep inside, they're a little scared. They're, or if in the very least, cautious, which is nothing to be like, ashamed of. Which is like what I was saying. It's like, so I stopped by a hospital today and, like I was doing stuff and I had a reason to be there. And anyways, I went in there and they were like, hey, hold up. And they like sat me down and they put that thermometer to my head and the security was hanging out the window. And I was like, okay. And they were like, you're running a little hot, but it's okay. And I'm like, oh, it's just because I'm hot headed. And I kept going. But yeah,
which reminds me, John.
Yeah.
You know how to tell the difference between an oral thermometer and a rectal thermometer?
How's that?
The taste.
The taste. Right. there's even that meme floating about with that rectal thermometer. It's like, whew, my temperature's just fine, thank God, and it's just covered in crap because they don't have any toilet paper or anything. So,
Right.
And that's old hat at this point. It's like everyone knows the toilet paper is gone. Why? I don't know. Even then, I got a gift from a worker today. Speaking of, I got 2 rolls of toilet paper. 2 whole rolls. I am rolling. Yeah, real, very friendly of them. Props. It's not that I needed any. In fact, I actually left it at work. But, at that same time, I was like, well, I think someone else could probably use that more than I could. So,
right.
They are nice ply, though, so I might actually go grab those. They're very soft to the touch. So, but, that's kind of the funny thing. It's like we were talking about, like, the potential of doing a skit where, like in Fallout, you got bottle caps. It's like instead you have toilet paper plies. And so we're gonna joke about that, and it's like a guy's like running from some raiders, and he like is going through a river and he falls in it, and his toilet paper supply lands in there, and he's like trying to fetch them, and it's wet, and he like grabs it, and he's like trying to stretch this toilet paper over the bank, trying to dry it off. And it was just kind of a funny concept. I mean, realistically, toilet paper is more valuable than our dollar.
At least right now.
As it was, really. I think, because, at least with toilet paper, you could have very many uses, And I suppose with dollars you could too, but it's harder to get dollars than it is toilet paper.
Speaking of value, you guys want to know what Ford stock is when it closed out today?
What the hell was it, like $2?
$4.35.
Yeah, it's cheap as shit right now.
I'm waiting. I'm thinking next week it's going to get down to like 4 or under, and that's when I'm buying. I'm thinking that's going to be the basement.
Mm-hmm.
So for all you those out there that want to have a tip, in my opinion, and I'm not a professional broker, so don't take this tip seriously. Wait till 4 and buy.
Mm-hmm. Basically, I just bought. Did I tell you I actually bought Carnival Cruise Line stocks?
Did you? I thought about it.
I did.
It was 52-week high was like $54, and then it went down to.
It's like $9 right now.
Is it 9? Last I looked, it was like 12. Damn.
Okay.
It's gone.
I don't know.
It's gone down.
12. Yeah. Okay. It might be 12, but like. I don't know. It fluctuates, and of course, I looked at my Halliburton stocks. I'm like, well, with the oil thing as it is, we'll see.
Yeah.
There's just stocks are crashing, and it brings in another thing. Trump's like, I'm gonna give the entire country $1,000, which I'm like, wait a minute.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, and that's what I was saying. It's like, for the sake of, comedy, I was explaining what inflation is to like my girlfriend and some other people. I was like, so, you have the last toilet paper, or you have like the last package of toilet paper in your village, right? And people are coming up to you, and you've been selling them for $10 a pop, right? And then you get a check for $1,000, and everybody else does too. So you're sitting there, it's like, well, everybody else has $1,000. And, I would like to make a profit off this toilet paper still and actually have it mean something. So my price just went up to $350 a roll. So it's like, that's basically what inflation is. And so the way I was talking about it with like my father and with Warspirit was, was basically if Trump gave $1,000 to every working person who was confirmed employed, I don't think it would be that bad. I think it would actually balance out pretty well.
And I agree. I think it would too.
Yeah, because at that point, nobody who gets $1,000, one, is a leech, and two, it kind of gives that incentive of like, you work, so you've provided this country with something, and that's showing even more right now. Like, it is amazing. Like, people are starting to realize how much workers do for this country. And I'd like to shove that in the communists' face, where it's like the workers get nothing and they do nothing for the country because it's all for some big boss gains. Hey, dipshit, look at this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We have an entire city relying on the workers of Smith's, Walmart, Sam's Club, these bottom of the barrel blue collar jobs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All reliant to give them their toilet paper. So, and not just the toilet paper, but everything. You know what I mean? Water, food, all this stuff to make them be able to sleep at night is on the blue collar guy.
Well, and if
truck drivers.
If that stimulus, you could call it a stimulus package. I mean, that's what Bush called it back in 2008. If you did do some kind of stimulus package where it was working guys that got the money, I mean, I really wouldn't consider that socialism. I would just say it's a tax break without calling it a tax break, because I mean, I pay well more than $1,000 a year into taxes.
Right.
Right.
That's a good.
So
point.
go ahead.
That's
and,
another thing that's coming up is tax breaks, right? I heard that there was an income tax break that was being discussed.
Well, there was a payroll tax, actually suspension that was being discussed, but Trump actually is favoring and it's actually up to $1,200 per person now. Okay. $1,200 per working person, like the head of the household.
Okay.
And then your spouse could potentially get that much as well. And then $500 per child in your household.
Huh. Interesting.
That's what they're looking at right now, and then also businesses. So they're the third bill that they just started talking about and writing today. Businesses would actually get back a certain percentage off of the taxes they pay for. What's the employee tax? Workman's comp.
Okay.
They would actually get part of their workman's comp taxes back to help pay for bills, and also there's a stimulus going on for businesses that like had to shut down, but they still have bills like to pay, like to be able to like keep the lights and stuff on while the employees are gone and stuff like that. There's going to be relief for that.
Right. Just cool, and that's where the money needs to come from, is already taxed dollars, you know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, absolutely. And I'm not too worried about it now that I thought about that. It's like, oh well, we already paid into it, so to get some of that back wouldn't really be a problem.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's what I've been telling everybody on Facebook, because everybody's like, oh, it's not right. It's where you're going to get the money. We done paid the money. We paid it in. It's just it's a tax refund. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's the opposite of socialism. It's like, all right. Well, kind of, I suppose. I mean, because technically you could say, well, your healthcare, Bernie crap is a refund of your taxes, or the roads are a refund of your taxes. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. I already had somebody argue with me on Facebook on that, and I said, well, but here's the thing. You get to decide where that money goes. So if you decide that you want to give it back to the government, then do so. Yeah, if you want to write a check to the IRS, they are not going to not accept your check. Or here's something smarter, John.
Right.
Give it to a charitable organization that you want to help, like a Convoy of Hope or something like that. Then your quote-unquote tax money is actually going to something good. With roads and bridges, they say, oh, you're being taxed for roads and bridges, and then it never gets paid for roads and bridges.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I'm all for that. Yeah, I've always kind of thought about what it would be like to be able to choose your taxes if we absolutely must have them. The only thing is, though, is they'll never do that, because
that's just it. I don't have a problem with taxes if I got more of a say on how they were spent.
Right, which they would never, ever do that. You know what I mean? Because for every good tax dollar there's 4 more of those dollars going into something evil. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, there's so much pork belly spending, it's not even funny.
Right. So, that's really the truth of it. So, IT, you're fading through a little bit. Or I don't know if that's just on mine. I was just saying, it seems like every time you like turn something on, it would come through a little bit, just like a little boop, boop. But anyways, so yeah, coronavirus is really changing hearts and minds, I'd say. Even someone said it was red pilling the world for everybody, because suddenly everyone's all for the closure of the border. Everyone seems to be like, yeah, let's go get guns. And people are into prepping now, and they're like, yeah, maybe these crazy wacko people weren't that crazy or wacko. I mean,
right, and to go with that, unfortunately, so that's the good that's come out in this.
right.
And there's something really very disconcerting on Facebook that I've been seeing as of late, and that's all these people coming out of the woodwork saying, well, I don't have to get food and all that stuff because I got guns and bullets. And when it comes down to it, I'll just go take it from people who don't have guns and bullets. I'm like,
right, which is, one,
makes...
one, it's like, I like most people I think would share that, like wouldn't actually do that, but some of them, it's like, oh, I
just think it's ludicrous and idiotic to even joke like that, because all you're doing is giving the left ammunition. So saying, see, this is what gun owners are like. They're just evil bad guys that want to take your stuff.
Gee, it's almost like you should get a gun.
Well, yes, I agree with that. But there's people on Facebook that call themselves quote unquote conservatives that are saying this, and they're like, oh, I was only saying it jokingly. Well, you know what? I don't agree with that. I just, you don't joke like that.
Right, and that's a good point. And in the midst of this kind of climate, and that's actually got me wondering if I jokingly shared something like that. It would be purely in a joke, but I do wonder. Because it's fun to take the piss out of these people who have bought toilet paper. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I could think of, like, dude, if you spent your entire allowance from, like, whatever you got on Jolly Ranchers, it would make more sense, And that's why it's fun to take the piss out of them. And I think that's what most of it is. It's like, well, look at me. I'm not buying toilet paper like the rest of you freaking idiots. I'm buying, something viable and useful, i.e. ammo. Which, toilet paper is useful, but it's not, like, viable in any other way than wiping your ass. That's about it.
Well, and I understand that, and ammunition is definitely viable and useful. It's useful for a myriad of reasons, not only just protection, but it's a great bartering tool.
Exactly.
And I guess you could say the same for a certain extent for toilet paper as well. But you can barter ammunition. Oh, it's worth a lot more.
Right. It wouldn't be the first time. People. You walk in the saloon, ask for whiskey, and it's like, well, that's either a penny or 2 bullets. You know what I mean?
Well, that's where they got the word a shot. It was one shot. So out of your Colt 45, it was a 45 long Colt round for a shot of whiskey.
Right. Which that's the most American shit I'll ever hear.
Well, that and a buck. That was a buckskin.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I never actually thought about it where the term bucks came from. Makes sense.
Yeah, one buck back way back in the 1700s was a buckskin.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Well, yeah, that's good to know. I can't believe I never thought of that. And that explains why, over in England and everything else like that, they don't really say bucks. Like, I actually get that now, because they say it's weird stuff like dosh.
Well, the funny thing is they call them pounds, and actually now they got the metric system. So, it's not really a British pound is,
right.
Name, but
boy, Mike, hold on, I gotta make this joke work. How what the hell? Did I get another Facebook notification telling me I'm spamming? No, never mind. How many kilograms are in a pound? I'm sorry, I don't use British crap.
I think it's 12, isn't it?
So 1 kilogram equals 2 pounds. Let me. So.
Is that right?
It's like 2.20462.
Okay.
And that's in Mass.
Here, let me see. Let me pull it up.
Oh, okay.
All I know is this: there's only
yeah.
one country that went to the moon, and they didn't use the metric system.
Oi, mate, could I get a couple 0.45359.237 kilograms off you, mate?
Yeah, because 1 pound is like 0.45 kilograms.
Yeah.
Big brain.
Yeah, it just goes to show, like, it is a beautiful thing that we do have different currencies, which is the fear again.
Right.
You crash the market so bad, all this money and currency as we know it goes flawless, and you get the stereotypical, chip in your hand or forehead,
Well, for years, China has done that on purpose. They have devalued their currency,
right,
and then used it to we pay back into it, and then they use our dollars and buy our stocks, and they're making money off of that by purposely devaluing their currency. And that's one thing Donald Trump put an end to. And so, call me tinfoil hat, but I still think there's something to do with that in the Rona.
Right. But also a useful lesson I just thought of that this whole ordeal is teaching people, especially in big areas like California right now. It's a little weird. Like, I really wonder what's going on there, like, right now. Because if, this is going to really teach the message to the left and everyone else. In a time of crisis, are you really going to rely on calling 911? Seriously,
Yeah, I give it till the middle of next week, and I think we're going to hear about riots in LA and stuff.
Yeah, we're going to see some crazy stuff going down, and it's a shame. I believe we all have family there.
There's going to be, I think, riots in LA that make the 1990s LA riot look like Disneyland.
Yeah, you're gonna wish you had some roof Koreans to quell that, but
that's right, with some AR, some
18s.
AR-18s.
AR-18s and M14s, which is a beautiful image to see M14s in the center of like Los Angeles. Like, it's very abstract.
Was it M14s or was it a Mini? Was it a Mini 14?
I think it was more. Yeah, it was a Mini. Is what the main photo I've seen was a Mini.
Yeah, there's a Ruger Mini 14. Yeah, and then the AR-80.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. I love that photo.
And yeah, no, that's great stuff. Like, I love that one Korean dude. You can find videos of him. He's like ducking behind a forklift, and he's like just taking pot shots with, I think it was like a 45. Which, I mean, like, I look at it and it's like, wow. And
is there any way you can bring up some of that?
Actually, I suppose we could.
It in the show notes, or I could throw it in there.
Yeah, you could go ahead. Let me go ahead and.
What am I looking for?
I'll Google it for you, mate. Let's see, forklift Korean gunfight. Yeah, gunfight in Koreatown. So you can go ahead and play that with I guess the volume turned off or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, it's a video. I'm sorry, I thought it was a picture.
Right. So. Yeah, but
oh my goodness.
It's on fire.
Yeah.
No, I guess we'll just leave that running. But
dang,
we're looking at a situation that is worse than. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, people have changed, but I mean, during the LA riots, there was really no shortage of anything, as you can tell. Like, it just was. It was. It was because officers did something stupid, and from that point on, everyone else went stupid.
Right.
So that's what happened there. It wasn't a shortage. So now that there's a desperation factor potentially sinking in, we're gonna start seeing like homicide through the roof, and it's a little worrisome.
Right.
That's not a very great video. It's just got a bunch of people talking at the camera. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and I'll just go ahead and
I mean, this is kind of basically what they were like subject to. I mean, it was just people on top of their roofs, just like this.
Yeah, it was just absolutely ridiculous.
There was one.
Yeah, there was one. Good.
There was one account that was kind of cool. Koreatown was the only place that these rioters didn't mess with because they knew that the Koreans were armed. And there was this one Korean man. He like shot 3 or 4 gang members that tried to go in his shop and ransack, and they were hiding behind stacked up bags of rice. So he had his Mini 14 shooting them, and Mama San was in the back loading mags.
Right, which is like,
yeah,
it's like that's what that's
American.
Yeah, that's the type of immigration I'm for. Is like people who are like, well, we're in America, so we're gonna be American. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
It's like
we don't have to put up with your bullshit. Me shoot you.
And that just goes to show, it's like we're not prejudiced here. We love this shit.
No, yeah, that is awesome.
It's like, if there was a Mongolian town and they were like hoarding off people with like cavalry and throat singing, that would have been like badass.
Well, if you'll notice that with usually with most Orientals, like Koreans and Japanese and stuff like that, they're not really the type of, I mean, I know they're considered minorities, but they never like say, oh, the white man's kept me down or all this other crap,
Well, it's because we haven't been able to. They're armed. So, all the more reason, get a gun. Like, I don't care, all politics aside and social norms and everything, like, if you are unhappy with the world today, start by getting a gun.
Yeah.
So, I don't care if you're a leftist, if you're a tranny, whatever you are, get a gun. Because there are people out there that would hurt you for what you believe in. And, that's why the founding fathers did it. It wasn't because, we need to protect the rights of right-wing radicals. It was, we need to protect the rights of everybody.
Speaking of which, there's been photos of a lot of Californians buying guns, John.
Exactly. They're buying their free trial featureless guns, but it's something. It's
funny how and I'm just going to say this, I'm sorry, folks, for the profanity, but when shit gets real, you forget about your liberal politics and you actually go with what works.
Right. And it's like, and honestly, that's kind of what I was pointing towards. It's like, isn't it funny? I actually stopped, like, there's this unity kind of coming back. As I've noticed, and that, we've always talked about in times of crisis, like you remember 9/11 and all that. It's like people completely threw politics right out the window because it serves no purpose anymore. It's war. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, they just don't necessarily they throw liberal politics out the window.
Pretty much. I mean,
because owning a gun is conservative politics.
Right. It is. But I mean, it's like. It's like, you see people suffering and, it's not like, oh, those Democrats or, oh, those Republicans. It's like, those are Americans. And
right.
That's kind of more what I was pointing at. And it's the absolute truth at this current moment. Because, it's scary. Everyone is scared, and you build camaraderie in crap. That's why the army teaches you to embrace the suck, is because the more it sucks, and you look at your buddies, they're going through the same crap you are. You're going to be like, hey, I like these guys. They know what's up. And there's something that those other people out in wherever else that isn't going through this right now can't understand. So like that's exactly what's going on in this nation now.
And I can see, some of the, and maybe this goes with some of the whole stuff that I said earlier, but I mean, again, there's places to joke and not, but about dark humor, because people cope with humor. So like the Kung Flu or something like that. It's funny. Right. I mean, yeah, people are literally dying from this, and that's not cool.
Right.
But the Kung Flu is funny.
Well, I mean, everything like this. I mean, there's jokes about 9/11, and that's something I personally hold true. I'm not saying everyone who listens or everyone who's part of this has this opinion, but if you make an offensive joke, how I see it, it's like, well, everything's on the table. You know what I mean? That's just to be fair, and that's like something me and IT have in common, because we ran a couple comedy pages back in the day, and they were extremely offensive. And it's not that we like hated it. Yeah, no holds barred. That was the whole thing. It was like, Because if someone came up and like knew that like we had a dead family member or something and joked about it, we'd be like, that's actually pretty funny. You know what I mean? Like, because it was just one of those things. And
man, that'd be messed up. Hey, I heard your mom died.
Yeah, but it's like you're gonna joke about 3,000 people dying in a fiery death of concrete, i.e., 9/11. Then, well, you better not get offended when someone makes fun of your dead mom.
Well, you could kind of, and I'm not saying the dude was right and wrong, but you could kind of quote Stalin on this, though.
Right, a million deaths. Yeah.
Yes. One death is a tragedy. A million is a statistic.
Right, and to us, it's one death is a tragedy, a million is a joke.
Right, exactly. One death is a tragedy, a million is comedy.
Which, I don't want that to be an official standpoint.
Here today on ITDD.
Right. Jonathan jokes about the Holocaust. No.
97 is the ashtray!
Right, 97. But that's the thing. It's a coping thing because we live. If you look about, and I mean, just with your own personal traumas and everything, everybody has their own issues. Everyone has been abused and neglected and betrayed. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just a given. And if someone has, usually, everyone else is like going to abuse them eventually because they're sick of their innocence.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the reality. It was kind of more like, like the whole soy generation where like everything is so fed to them on a silver platter without issue, and everything is kind, everything is nice. I hate that because
everything they're protected.
Yeah, I've never known that, and yeah, sure, I live in a little bit of anxiety, but at the same time, it's like when I hear someone like absolutely losing their mind over a joke that doesn't even have something to do with them, but has something to do about someone's race or religion or whatever, and they're losing it. Like their day is ruined over it. You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah.
What a first worlder thing to freak out about. Because if you tell off-shade jokes in like third world countries and they get it, they're gonna laugh their ass off. Why? Because they know what hard shit is, and that's not hard shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like some of the Soviet jokes. Have you ever heard some of those?
Yeah, absolutely. Reagan was the best
like,
one.
Like one of them was like something about what was the best Soviet joke, and they're like, what? We can't tell you because the last guy got sent to the gulag for telling the joke.
Right, and there's a lot of sad things going on in the world. But that's that is a coping mechanism, as you'll find nurses, military men, police officers, the people who see awful shit, because nurses have to deal with seeing like a baby's head caved in because
any
mom
job
didn't
of
want
their
it.
stress. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you, oil field workers are dark.
Yeah. And that's because, you have to have something. It's like, how are you going to scrape yourself off the bed every morning without like, a little bit of comedy? Because that's all you got sometimes. It's like I've been there. It's like, it's the same reason that like after a terrible event almost takes place or does take place, like, but you're fine, right? Like something explodes and you're like knocked on your ass and, there's like concrete raining and stuff. And you just kind of like look around a bit and you're like, you realize you're fine. And you're like, whoa, damn. And you start laughing like, because you're fine. Yeah. It's kind of that same thing. Whereas, the other people, the political correctness, something would blow up, they'd be fine. And they'd be like, my heart. And they just like would not let it go. You know what I mean?
A buddy of mine showed me it was a video. This is way back in the day of a rig he was on back in Texas. This was back in the late 90s. He's a little bit older than me. And they actually had a blowout. You know what a blowout is?
Tire? Oh, well, you mean an oil filling?
On the rig. So the tubing that they were putting in, the well came back on before it was supposed to because the pressure built up, and it actually shot all of the tubing out of the hole. And so there's this spaghetti pipe falling everywhere of death. And everybody's running off location, but he said it's surreal because everybody's laughing their asses off. And he said it's all we could do. We were so terrified that we were just laughing.
Exactly. That's the truth of it. I mean,
yeah.
And so, yeah, and that's why, like, example A, we're sitting there in the midst of this pandemic in a farmer's market where everyone is pissed off and sad, and we're dancing.
you got to, bro. You got to.
It's like, you got to, because it's like, do you really want, if this really is your last days here, do you really want to be a miserable sack? You know what I mean?
That's just it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I've always kind of thought about it. It's like if it came over the news, it's like, and a meteor is heading directly for us. We have exactly 3 hours to live. It's like, well, I'm going to down this here whiskey. I'm going to kiss my lady. And, I'm going to try my best to be happy and not worry about it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, what are you going to do? And that's the same thing with this pandemic. What are you going to do? Are you going to erase the coronavirus all on your lonesome? No. If it is the genuine threat, are you going to single-handedly stop the New World Order from stomping on your dog? Probably not.
That's like Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd in Spies Like Us. Did you ever watch that movie back in the 80s?
I'm afraid not.
They're supposed to be American spies in the Soviet Union, and they're trying to stop this nuclear launch. But it ends up getting launched anyways, so they think they're shooting one at the U.S., and so they think that the U.S. is going to shoot back and everybody's going to die. So they end up getting some loving time with these beautiful Ushanka women. It's like, well, we're going to die anyways. So.
Right. Which actually brings the concept. It's like, it's like at that point, though, I think if something like that were to go down realistically, I'd probably just bow my head and start praying until it came.
Yeah. And it probably in real reality, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I would like to enjoy myself, but in lieu of that, one of my favorite jokes, I told it to a coworker recently. And excuse any profanity, it is a vulgar joke. It's there's 3 dudes sitting at a campfire, and one of the guys says, hey, what if there was a nuclear bomb like in the fire and it was just going to go off in like 5 minutes? What would you do in these 5 minutes? And the 2 other guys like sat there and they pondered, and the first guy pipes up and he says, well, I'd fuck the nearest living thing that moved. And then he's like, well, what about you? And he looks to the other guy, and the guy says, well, I'd stand very still for 5 minutes. So, I really love that joke, and I can't remember for the life of me. It must have been from a film or a game. I heard it. I think it might have been Bad Company, but that always stuck with me. And even right now, we're in the midst of this terrible thing that has cost people their jobs, that have cost people their their way of making a life for themselves. And it actually has killed people. It's killed quite a bit of Americans at this rate, and we're sitting here like making jokes, and that just kind of shows, I think, it's not so much that we're mentally like deranged or that we're damaged. It's more just like, well, until I'm going through some hard shit, I'm gonna laugh. You know what I mean?
Well, and even when you're going through hard shit, you kind of gotta. Yeah. It's like it's like when the 300 were at the hot gates, and so what's his name? The main bad guy. Anyways,
the Persian
guy, but I forget his name. He orders a volley of arrows. Well, there were so many Persians, and this is actually recorded. It was like legit real. Right. There were so many Persians that when they would shoot their arrows, it would black out the sun.
Right. There was a lot of Persians.
Yeah. And so here it is, the 300s. There's these Spartans are like holding their shields up, and one of them, and it was recorded. He really said this. One of the captains. He's all, man, there's so many arrows, they black out the sun, sir. And he starts laughing. Then we'll fight in the shade. Right. And they all start laughing. It's like, because that's all they can do.
I mean, yeah, it's like it's interesting because those 300 men, they were really, what's it? They knew that they were at their end. You know, that was it.
Yeah,
There was no doubt, but they were going to go out with a bang. So
there is something very peaceful about accepting your fate, rather that be death or rather that be whatever. And for us Christians, that's accepting that God has put us in a certain situation to do His will.
Right, and that's the most peaceful feeling you can have.
Right, because now you know that you have given up the what little control that we humans like to pretend that we have.
You have become the ultimate archetype.
Right.
But if you don't know what that means, I could look it up. But
yeah, go ahead and give our viewers.
So archetype.
It's basically like the fulfillment of like an ideal character.
Yeah. So an archetype is a. Well, in the way I was using it, it's more like, so you have, like the main character of of the Bible, it would be like argued Jesus, right?
Right.
And so, but in order for Jesus to obtain his goal, he meets these archetypes, which are disciples. They are necessary for the story and the prophecy to be fulfilled, yet they are not the main character.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the attention of the book, but they are necessary. So that's what an archetype is. It's like a side character that is necessary, but is not the objective.
The focal point.
Yeah. So it's like that. There's actually a metal band that taught me this called Becoming the Archetype, which is a Christian metal band, which I thought was one of the most powerful names for a Christian band I'd ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
Here it was. I just thought it was a boat that Noah built.
Right. It was a type of boat he built. It's an archetype. Mm-hmm. But
It was the Archetype 1. He actually met with the Archetype 2 because he messed up on the first one.
Right.
He measured too many cubits.
Too many cubits.
Right, just one too many.
That was their unit of measurement. I think they called it
like
cubits.
In the ancient days.
Yeah, it was basically. Yeah. Wasn't it from your elbow to the top of your fist? That was like
basically, yeah.
So.
Right.
Measurement.
Yeah, the Egyptian cubit. Yeah, the Indus Valley unit's length referred to above. Yeah, the common cubit was the length of the forearm from the elbow to the tip of the middle finger.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Just speaking of human history, they're like, how do we length things? How do we count?
Let's just use our forearms.
Right, and
imagine having 5 different people though. I mean, like, because forearms aren't exactly the same height.
No,
the same
no, they're
length.
not.
So it's like, imagine having 5 different people. You just have this lopsided boat that like,
right.
Like it would just look ridiculous. Yeah. Luckily, in that case, Moses was building it, so it was consistent.
Right,
and I'm sure God, when he was given, instructions.
Yeah, God was like, "Here's a hacksaw and a tape measure."
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a level. What is this, my lord? Just use it, please.
Just place it down flat.
You gotta fit a lot of animals on this thing, dog. Like,
oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Right, which is, I love that. But I was thinking also funny, it would be like, a contract, like you do it for your Egyptian boss or whatever, and you build this like thing using your like slaves' forearms.
Right.
Like one of your slaves, like he, and you get it done, and he's like, "What the hell is this? It's too small, sir. It was 5 cubits." And he's like, 5 Hajib cubits or 5 Karem cubits?
Yeah, I bet you they did have prisoners that were used for measurement. I bet.
Exactly.
They had to have realized that at one point. I'm pretty sure.
Put your hand on the wall, dipshit.
Right. Yeah. Line it up.
Surely after a while, they like cut a stick to a certain length.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Saying, well, this is a cubit, but
right.
So that way everybody has the same cubit.
Exactly. It's a consistent cubit.
What was the first stick?
Right.
That they copied all the other sticks from.
How many cubits does it take to get to the cubit center of a cubit pop?
Whose weenus was responsible for the first cubit stick? You know what I mean? So that's funny, a little bit of history. I know we went off on a tangent, but that is too funny to ignore that humans were like, our middle finger is the end point. End of line. Line ends here. So there's a lot of that stuff, like the Greeks were like, hey, there's a difference. Like this guy got more than I did, but what is more? So maybe 1, 2, 3. Oh, 3, 4, 5. So they started counting.
Yeah, well, it's just weird how we have this like predetermined notion to count. Like it comes naturally. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like us as humans, as we grow up, like eventually understand the point of counting. Ironically, though, children have trouble doing it.
Right.
That's another fascinating psychological study. Like,
right. Well, it's the same thing as spelling, because I'd like walk up and like, oh yeah, I could spell duck, XUZP.
Yeah, they just kind of go for it.
Yeah.
With counting, it's like you break a graham cracker in half. Like you show them a full-sized graham cracker, right? And you're like, which one would you like? Or like, and then they break it in half, and then they're like, and then they break it in half again, and then they put like 3 for one, and then 1 on the side, like 1/2 of a graham cracker. Does that make sense?
Right.
And like 9 times out of 10, the children, for some strange reason, chose. It was some interesting study, like even perception in a glass, like which one was more. Another thing that children have issues with are like very early on in their life is observational learning, right? It's the concept that because I can't see it, it doesn't exist.
Right, the whole peekaboo game.
Exactly. That's why peekaboo works.
Do you know what children don't have an issue with anymore?
What is that?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow. That was a pretty good one.
That was pretty good. Yeah, but speaking of, it's like I wonder if this whole Jeffrey Epstein didn't blow open, if we'd be dealing with this virus right now. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's why the virus is here.
Yeah, it's because everyone is like wouldn't shut up about Epstein, so it apparently the shootings weren't working anymore. So we got to infect the entire nation now. So they'll shut up and be distracted. So yeah, our entire nation is ruled by an elite gang of pedophiles and elites. I didn't forget. So, woohoo! Joy, 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 joy.
Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy.
So, yeah, that's really what's going on. Locally, though, there's a lot of rumors, and I didn't want to talk about rumors because I don't like them. They're false, but like 9 times out of 10, they're just rumors. Mm-hmm. Especially in this respect, and that's what I was saying. Like we talked about it when like Sasha Marie Krause got kidnapped, and everyone was like putting in stupid, like totally unfounded, like suggestions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's another thing what we're seeing now. Like I'm not sure if anybody who's listening right now locally has heard from the government's gonna shut everything down on Monday. Yeah, and it's like I haven't heard a single law enforcement personnel. Like I have a couple people who work in the laws. I'm sure a couple of you guys do as well, but I haven't heard anything come down the chain.
Right, and I mean it's like,
it wouldn't surprise me if it did happen, but the fact that this is spreading like wildfire, man, it's just scaring people. You know what I mean? It's like, ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I was saying. It's like even with the school shooting, it's like there's a shooter running to Bloomfield, and it's like there's nothing there.
Exactly. Well, I'm gonna bring up a one from the past, Aztec, right? I was in school at Farmington High School when it had happened, and
and everyone was saying that there's going to be a shooter at Farmington.
Exactly, and they were saying, the shooter is mobile and he's heading towards Farmington, and I'm like, really? Right. That doesn't sound
how could
right.
They not? Yeah,
how could they not have stopped him? Like, I was sitting here like, wow.
Al was just on the side of the road eating his donuts.
Yeah, he's just hanging out. I mean, it blows my mind how just out of proportion things can get, and just how this mass hysteria can set in.
Yeah, it's just instant ridiculousness. Yeah, I noticed we lost Warspirit.
Yeah, we'll get him back eventually.
Yeah, hopefully. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he's not having, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
What?
He had an episode he had to run to the emergency room.
We'll wait for him to explain that. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was about to say we'll let him, go about what he was gonna be going through. But as for that, the whole false spread of information is astounding. And I don't know if that's just a here thing, because, I've heard things from people who wouldn't lie or say things like unreasonable. But, people are asking me when I was out like working today, and they're like, well, what have you heard? I'm like, you don't want to know.
Right.
You don't want to know. And, I don't know if I brought that up, but it was like, and they're like, well, why not? Don't you want to tell me? Don't you care about me? It's like, yeah, that's why I'm not going to bother with it, because I don't think it's true.
Yeah, I don't think you worrying about it is going to benefit you.
Yeah, and I was saying it's like either way this goes. I was like, one, you get a good night's rest potentially and something doesn't happen, or you get a good night's rest and something bad happens. So, you know what I mean? So, like, there you go. I mean, what would you prefer? Like, not getting that good night's rest, or just getting that good night's rest?
Right.
And it's like, I get that. It's like, oh, but I wanted to prepare. It's like, well, that's a thing. It's like, you can prepare, but that's something
nobody's
you should be
really
doing
ever
anyway.
Prepared. You know
like,
what I mean?
That should be something you're doing anyway.
Right.
Whether or not you
that's true.
Whatever is going on. So, yeah, Warspirit said he'll be back here in a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, he's having technical difficulties. And it bothers me. And there's a bit of stupidity, and I'm starting to realize that is prevalent here more than other places, and not everywhere. Like, trust me.
I'm sure California, Washington has had their plenty fair share of
of stupid people, and probably even more so than here. But it does bother me, because it's like, really, guys, like Farmington, Aztec, and Bloomfield have chances to prove themselves as stable-minded, like ahead of the bell curve people, but they fail every freaking time for a population that's not the size of New York, not the size of California.
I couldn't even imagine, like in Albuquerque when shit hit the fan, basically. When everybody started panic buying, I couldn't even imagine what those stores looked like. Atrocious, man, and atrocity is the best thing I could imagine.
It's like the image that comes to my mind is like
Black Friday.
Yeah, it's like a white trash. It's like a white trash fat ass like mom with her,
with her 13 children.
Yeah, they're like 13 children, and they're like
all the supplies.
Yeah, and they're holding on to her for dear life, because there's about 4 more of these fat asses running in.
And they're all named George. You know how you can tell them apart?
How so?
Call them by their last name.
Wow.
You get that? That's bad. That's bad, man.
They all have different daddies, IT?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
He's like, I get it. It's just not funny.
Yeah, let me work a laugh into my schedule.
But yeah, that's the honest truth. It's
definitely some interesting times.
Yeah, and it's an interesting concept, because it's like, I saw that here, all these people who, they're coming from their trailer huts because they had to put their Game of Thrones on pause for like 5 minutes. They run down to the store and beat the hell out of grandma for a piece of toilet paper, and it's just like, yeah, I'm done with you people. It's like, you deserve.
Well, the people that are buying like an astronomical amount of toilet paper is ridiculous, man.
All right, it's stupid.
Like, for you to go through like 2 cases of toilet paper in 14 days, you would have to like use the restroom like 128 times a day.
Yeah, but also the problem that has arisen from this is that now it's not even like that people are panic buying toilet paper anymore. It's like there's just a horde of people getting toilet paper because they haven't been able to get to it.
Right.
And so you're in this cycle, because that wave comes in, and then it's this endless like wave. So it's like, I wonder like how long it's the snake, you know what I mean?
Right.
I wonder how long this snake is before it finally catches back up.
Well, and we saw this back in 2008 with Obama with the 22 long rifle.
Yeah.
Right.
You couldn't find 22 long rifle on the shelves for a long time.
Right. What a crazy world. I'll tell you what, boys, I got to take a quick little break. So go ahead and keep going. Go ahead and look at the show notes, I guess, and keep things rolling.
Sounds good.
Very cool.
talk to us a little bit about that 22 long rifle thing, because I wasn't sentient when that was around.
Oh, sure. So this started back in '08 when Obama first got elected. And it was really interesting. Like, okay, so he basically said, I am going for your guns. I'm going to make these guns illegal because they kill people, and that's not right. Let me make this perfectly clear. And so we knew from the get-go Obama was anti-gun.
Mm-hmm.
So at first, everybody went for the regular calibers, 9mm, 5.56, 308, all that. So for a while, you couldn't find those for very, very much at Sportsman and all these different places. But then after a while, those kind of died out. And for some odd reason, it's just like the toilet paper. It didn't really make any sense. Everybody and their dogs, and I will say something here in just a minute that makes a little bit of sense, but everybody and their dogs started buying 22 long rifle. And for the longest time, you couldn't buy 22 long rifle. I mean, it was like hen's teeth. I remember Ace Hardware in Bloomfield when all this started happening. Everybody else had jacked up their prices on 22 long rifle, and they'd also put like limits on how much you could get and stuff. And the Ace Hardware in Bloomfield, they had a ton of 22 sitting under the counter. And so I told the little gal that was behind the counter there, I said, hey, you guys got any limits or anything on how many 22s you can buy? And she said no. And I said, okay, I'll take those 22s. How many? All of them.
Oh.
There's 3,000 rounds there. I said, yes, ma'am. I want all of them.
I want all of them.
And so I bought that. So I bought that, stockpile of 3,000 rounds of 22 for pretty cheap, because at the time, it was still reasonable. It was like, I want to say it was like 5 cents a round.
Oh, that's
somewhere
not bad.
some round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Here's another thing that's very interesting. So from '08 to now, that's not that long. When we finally did start seeing 22 come back, it never did come back that cheap. Now you'd be lucky to find 22, I think for, man, I might be full of crap, but last time I looked, I think it was like 12 cents a round or something like that, is cheapest I could find.
Yeah, and
so,
another one of those things too is adjusting for, supply costs and things like that, especially meeting the demand that quickly. You know what I mean?
Right. And the only thing, so the 22 made a little bit more sense than the toilet paper, because the reason a lot of people were buying up 22 is because what is the first rifle that you learn on?
This is 22.
It's 22, yeah. Everybody and their dogs. When you're a kid, you learn on 22.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I shot a 22 before I shot a BB gun.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So to help you out here, Warspirit, real quick. I'm looking up on wikiarms.com. It's looking about 4 cents a round. 0.042
right now?
cents a round. Yeah, $16.75 for 400 rounds.
See, it's back down where it should be again.
Uh-huh.
But it took a long time.
It took a while to get there. These are budget ammunition. This is budget as well. Just
right. Yeah.
Right.
What you're saying is 0.047.
Yep.
I need to go ahead and get my screenshot app back up so I could throw that up there, but I don't have it right now.
Throw what now?
I was gonna screenshot the prices of 22 LR long rifle.
I can get it.
It's not a big deal. I mean, it's right there. I'm not too worried about
it. Speaking of
true sheepdogs. About that.
Oh, you want to go with that? Yeah.
I don't know. What were you gonna run for?
Well, I was just gonna give our listeners a link really quick. It's really cool. Okay. So there's a link that you can look up. It's www.gunbot.net, and I can just go ahead and throw that up there on the.
I can put it in the chat.
On the deal
honestly,
here.
I could paste it in the chat.
Yeah, I think he's got it. Oh, very good. Thank you for that.
So, okay.
Right. And it's not like people can click that, by the way. So
yeah,
it's kind of like maybe they can read off of it.
I'll post it in the chat. Yeah. In the YouTube chat.
There you go.
But so gunbot.net is like a kayak for ammunition.
Been a while since I've heard of kayak. I don't know why, it just has been.
And so they look up all these different sites for you, you can just go through there and find the best price.
Let me pull it up real quick here. Screen's gonna go black probably for a second, folks.
Sure.
Let me see.
Speaking of, have you heard of Clearwater Beach in Miami?
Here. Here's this. Here's the website right here.
Right.
So as you can see, it lists different types of ammunition, like here, and it gives you costs and how much the bulk would actually cost for 200 rounds. That's actually really, really cool, Warspirit. And so you can so it's all different types of cartridges, right?
Yes, you can when you go into the site, and sometimes it's weird when you look it up like on Google. Sometimes they'll always like already have like a certain caliber that you got to click on. But you can click on that, and you can go back to their home page part, and then click whatever caliber you want. Like for example, right now I'm looking at it, and you got you can also do pistol or shotgun or rifle. So say you click rifle, well, you're going to get all the rifle calibers that come up. And
that's actually really cool, and then it breaks into subcategories.
Yeah, and you can even set this to give you alerts. Like, say you're looking for 223 ammunition, but you want to wait till you can find it like 22 cents a round. Well, you have it to where it sends you an email alert at a certain, when it gets there, and you can buy it right then.
Right. That's really cool, and it even tells you subsonic if it's match. That's really, really cool, actually. Folks, check out gunbot.net. Not a sponsor, but very useful tool.
No, very useful.
Well, hopefully they become a sponsor.
That would be. These guys don't look like they're making. These guys seriously don't look like they're making any money. This guy literally just made a script. It looks like for several.
Yep. That's all he did. I don't think this guy makes a dime on this.
Which is honestly awesome, because I mean you can set up your own account and things like that. That's really, really cool, actually.
Right. So what I was going to go into, what was I going to talk about? I had something else other than the whole sheepdog thing that I was going to bring up, but it's kind of fallen out of my head. It was,
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Pennsylvania State Police Department. An unidentified virus.
The broadcast that we were going to play later played. A little bit of a
that's
spoiler.
okay. Well, it's whatever. We'll just leave it at that. But so you wrote something interesting here in the show notes, Warspirit, and that is true sheepdogs protect folks who cannot protect themselves in a scenario like we are seeing. And I kind of want to expand on that. Yeah.
Well, that's always been my heart, and I think that's the reason why I kind of get so pissed off when I hear people saying, well, I'm just going to go take their stuff because they don't have any way to protect themselves. I'm like, well, then you're not a sheepdog. Right. Because if you truly are a sheepdog, if you truly care about people and want to protect people, well, you're not going to prey upon the weak. Right. Wolves prey upon the weak.
Right.
So when I see people posting that kind of stuff online, to me, that's just showing their true colors. They're a wolf.
Right. Which, and that's kind of the funny thing is that there's going to be a lot of distinctions coming out in lieu of this. There's merit to be had, and there's a Christian virtue to be had instead of, doing what the animalistic nature of what's taught, which is, we're all monkeys anyway, so what's it matter? As long as I'm alive. The strong must always fear the weak.
And look, there's actually a way you can, if you're needing supplies from some of those, like say somebody that doesn't have guns, whatever, if you're needing supplies, there's actually a way to get those supplies and still help them. What you do is you say, hey, I'm just going to use, we're all obviously here sheepdogs, but hey, Jonathan, I heard you're having a hard time, and I heard that the guys down the street are threatening to take your stuff. I got a group here, and we got some security training, and we got some pretty tuned up guys. Tell you what, I heard you have like a 50-sound pack of pinto beans that you don't really need. Tell you what, you trade us that, will give you patrols down your street for 2 weeks.
Exactly. Which you're looking into what created Japan as a country, by the way.
Right.
Which is I was talking about that because the shogun was a PMC. Really, it was the government was busy painting. Really, that's all they did. They would just paint in their temple, and all the while the country, all the farmers are getting like robbed and stuff by hordes of bandits.
Right.
And in that regard, like the shogun shows up and says, well, if you guys give us a bit of your rice and a bit of your workers at times, we'll protect your crops and we'll protect your property. And then in that time, the shogun became the new government for several reasons. But that's pretty much it. And, it's so common with sheepdogs that we use samurai. I'm not a weeb or anything. I really could care less about like that whole jurisdiction. But the whole samurai like thing is very sheepdogish if you look at it. And and I hate using the term sheepdog because I feel like I'm slapping a Punisher skull on our podcast,
Well, to me, the Punisher isn't a sheepdog.
Well, he's definitely not. But everybody who's like, yeah, look at me, I'm a sheepdog, slaps a Punisher skull on their mag, and it's like,
well,
ugh.
Okay, so I sent you boys some
photos.
A picture last week. Let me see if I can throw that up here. If I can.
Yeah.
Okay. You can throw that up, IT. Yeah, you're the man. So let's wait folks, and for him to show this because I got some really interesting insights on this.
Right. So.
Well, I don't want to give it away until we see the photo, so we can maybe me and you can talk about something else real quick, John.
Right.
It was in Messenger. It was in Messenger.
Chat? Okay.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Colossus of Clout?
Oh, you mean the Great Bambi?
You mean that stupid girl deer? You're killing me, Smalls.
The king of SWAT.
The Great Bambi. I need to watch The Sandlot again.
Oh, I love that movie.
Film. All right, here we go.
Okay, here we go. So, everybody watching, if you'll click on this and kind of enlarge that photo a little bit.
You got, my comment immediately, like I didn't even notice the Punisher skull on the left shoulder of that guy.
Well, see, okay, so, but that's the reason why I picked this photo, though, guys. So everybody's common, realization, and humans do this. They always recognize the most obvious, and the guy on the right is a lard ass.
Right.
Okay, he's your typical, I would say, like, Southern, I'm in the militia kind of guy.
Yeah, I got a stockpile. I'm in the militia.
Yeah. And he sits on his couch and he plays video games all day and eats Cheetos. And he doesn't ever go train very much. But when he does, he goes in his backyard with his buddies and plays paintball or airsoft. But they'll never train real tactics. It's just like every man for themselves.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I feel a little attacked right now.
Oh man.
I feel attacked because I am obese. It's like,
it's like I am that fat guy who doesn't train and plays video games all day. Like you did.
Well, here's the thing: if you're offended, change what you're doing.
No kidding. And like I said, I'm not that big, thank God. But I was joking.
None of us.
That guy is a chonker.
Yeah, I'm really not even close.
He's the kind of guy that where you walk up to and your buddy says, "Man, how'd your mom and dad let you get that big?" And then your buddy says, "Man, he probably ate his mom and dad."
Right. Well,
he's the kind of guy that you could post on Reddit and he'd get 15,000 upvotes.
Right. Well, I was looking at him. And I was like, man, I really want a pair of tactical white khaki.
Oh yeah,
jeans.
those are just kicking, man. Okay, so done picking on the fat guy. He's the obvious target. Okay.
Right.
The guy on the left, he looks like he's pretty tuned up. He looks like he's got some high speed, low drag kind of shit.
He's got all right gear.
I do have one issue with this, bro. And I've seen it time and time again. Operators who truly operate, who are truly high speed, low drag, don't have to feel that they have to brag about it. And to me, the Punisher skull is saying, see, I'm a big, tough, high-speed, low-drag ninja warrior. You don't want to F with me, bruh.
Right. Well, it's the standard, like, it's the people who always are posting tough guy quotes on Facebook.
The doctor said I am morbidly a beast.
That's awesome.
I love that one. Yeah. But it just kind of the Punisher skull. It went from like it being kind of a noble, like, well, not noble, like a cool thing, to just now anytime you see it, you just know that person's a pompous ass.
You just kind of roll your eyes.
They're a douche. Okay,
exactly.
It's taken, to me, the Punisher skull has taken the place of the '90s No Fear logo.
Yeah.
They were the same dickheads.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's the same guy that would throw a monster logo on the back of his jacked up Chevy pickup.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So,
I hate that. Okay? Yeah. So, in my honest opinion, if you can do something, you honestly know you can. Like, for example, there's a reason why I like to train in different self-defense stuff, because the more like jiu-jitsu, or the more or whatever, boxing, whatever, it gives you the confidence that where if you go into a conflict and you look at a guy and you're like, well, if I had to, I could kick your ass.
Right.
But I'm not going to. And I'm going to be polite to you. Even if you're a jerk to me, I'm going to be nice to you. Now, you might see that as, oh, he's just trying to get out of a fight. No. I know I can win. I don't have to prove it.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing, to make peace is to prepare for war.
Correct. And you're at peace because you know this guy is not a threat to me.
Right.
But when I see the opposite, what I see is somebody secretly weak. Sun Tzu taught this. When you are weak, make your enemy think you are strong. And when you have great number, make yourself seem weak. So then the enemy will attack, and you can surprise them.
Right. Which, yeah.
I love this photo. It's a 1980s photo of some mercenary guys, and they're all like, there's these two jacked up guys on either side of this. Like, I mean, he's like the nerdiest looking. Like, he's got the huge, like almost Coke bottle glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing this out of Soldier of Fortune magazine. And it was kind of like one of these comparisons. And they said, who here is the most badass looking guy in the photo? And so people wrote in, left, right, and all this other stuff. Well, the true answer was the two guys on the outside were brand new first-year guys. The guy in the middle that looked all nerdy had been like 15 years in like some of the craziest crap you'll ever know. I mean, he's probably sliced more throats than anybody in the. But he didn't look that way at all. But that's because he didn't care. He didn't feel like he had to be putting off this persona of, oh, I'm high speed, low drag. Now, does that mean you shouldn't be in shape? Now, looking at the photo there, yes, you should be in shape. Obviously, the guy on the left is in better shape than the guy on the right.
Right.
That's where I think you can show off. It's like, yeah, see these muscles? These are my guns.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah. So it's important. But yeah, it's definitely it's cringy. It's like a fad. It's like why would you want to put, like, is it the Punisher? Is it Marvel? Or is it DC?
It's Marvel.
Yeah, it's like, why would you? It's like these people who put like Deadpool and like spray paint their guns like black and red. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you, man?
Right.
It's like, yeah, you just, why do you care about Marvel so much? It's like, do you have no personality of your own? And that's just me personally. I don't really like fandoms as a general rule. I mean, I do, like, I'm part of Stalker, and but I guess I don't really have room to talk. I would totally make a stalker gun. Like I would put like Stalker on the magazine or something.
I have seen people who have taken like D-handle shovels and replaced them with AK butts so they could make a Fallout 4 AK.
Huh.
That sounds kind of
like in like legit real life.
I don't know if that's really a good idea. I don't know. That's kind of like stupid, man.
Yeah, I mean it's not very functional, but it's kind of looks kind of cool.
I don't know. It's like I guess it's fine. It's just the Punisher skull is just cringy. It always will be.
Yeah, and well, to me though, so if you're trying to be a serious operator, or just if you're trying to be professional, then look professional.
Right. Which I mean, I've always been kind of a purist to a degree, and what I mean by that is like, you know, like in games, it bothers me like how common it is that you see like an operator or whatever with like a bright red gun. I'm not saying they shouldn't have that ability, but it kind of breaks my immersion because it's like, really, you're gonna run out here with your rainbow gun? Seriously, you know?
Well, and that's stuff like in real life too. I always teach people like when we've done like for my security personnel for the church and stuff, I always tell them, you know, make sure, you know, you don't have on the front of your Glock, because there's these one like little logos you can put on there that says smile and wait for the flash.
Right.
Don't put that kind of stuff on your gun.
Right.
All you're doing two things. You're opening yourself up for lawsuits if you ever have to use that gun.
Right.
See, he was just waiting to be able to shoot somebody. Right. Don't put that stuff on your gun. And to me, the Punisher logo is the same way. You know, you can the backstop of Glock, a lot of Glocks, like where the plastic part is, you can replace that, and it's got different logos. You know, you just don't do that. Keep it stock. Just keep the stock black. Don't put a Spartan logo on there and all this. Just keep it stock.
Right.
Lazy. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name. I'm gonna go with Lazy Jake 93 posted. Make the Punisher skull great again.
Make the Punisher skull great.
That's awesome.
Right. So check out this absolutely ruined Mosin I just posted in show notes. Because this is kind of the thing I was talking about that kind of gives me an
We have been
aneurysm.
able to power a small mill by connecting it to Sergei Mosin turning over in his grave. Wow.
Oh man, John, you wouldn't have liked the Mosin that I had back in the day.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Is you bubbled the hell out of it? Is what I heard.
I just sporterized it. I just took the fore part where that's wood all the way down. I just made an exposed barrel.
Whatever. I mean, the Russians were always messing with their Mosins. So, like, the Mosin's like expendable.
And I also put a scout scope on it.
And I guess there's really nothing incarnate with making your gun, you know, part of your fandom. But it's like, imagine that this was a Mosin that belonged to an actual Soviet soldier who died fighting the German army for Sasha. You know, it's like, and that's your dying legacy. Is your great grandchild gets your gun and turns it into this. You know, and that's kind of the like, damn.
Well, see, back in the day, and I'm actually really sad that I got rid of that Mosin. Back in the day, like when I bought mine, I bought my Mosin for $80.
Right.
Yeah, I know. You could have. I mean, eventually, as the supply, you know, falters out here later. I mean, it's gonna get more expensive. But back in the day,
yeah,
like
you can't even. Let me look it up right now. I don't.
It's probably about $300 for.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I remember I stopped by the bunker and they were like, "Hey man, you know, I'll give you this Mosin for $200, and I'll also throw in 200 extra rounds." And I feel like a total idiot. Like, I mean, the Mosin, a lot of people really praise it as like the best bolt action sniper ever. It's like,
I think what sells it is it's so cheap. That's the thing. Yeah. You got an amazing deal. You know what I mean? Like that was such a good deal. Like it just works. It's cheap. Yeah. Like,
but yeah, it's cheap. It works. And you know, cheers to the Mosin for being what it is. Same reason, you know, cheers to the AK for being what it is. But you know, there's better alternatives if you can afford them.
Well, that's what's funny though. The difference in the AK and the Mosin. The Mosins are still relatively cheap. I mean,
yeah, AKs are the opposite.
AKs are like way more expensive than AR-15s. and it just boggles the mind. But the reason for that, I had a guy tell me once that building AKs are a lot more difficult in the U.S. because we don't have the infrastructure the Soviets had to stamp out all those. So it's harkened more to building an AK is more like blacksmithing, and AR-15s are more like putting together Legos.
Right. It's like building a car, like with pre-built parts,
Yeah. So you're looking at a huge deal here. Oh man, I'm looking at all the Nagants on Bud's Gun Shop are all sold out. Oh, here we go. You can actually buy an Archangel Pro Mag conversion for $149.
Huh.
Okay.
Oh, maybe is that just the stock?
Maybe.
That's got to be just the stock for the Mosin. Makes it look cool though.
Anyways, so like in lieu of like coronavirus and everything else, like that's what we're saying. It's like, it's funny. I had like 4 people hit me up. They're like, "Do you know how to build an AR?" I'm like, "No." Well, yes, they're actually very simple. Like, there's a 15-minute video on YouTube that'll teach you like everything.
Right.
Which, and the fact that it's 15 minutes is like paramount. Like, look at that. Look up a full setup of any other gun that's as that it's reasonably complex, and you're gonna have like a 30-minute or up.
If you're mechanically inclined at all, you should be able to look at a YouTube video and put an AR together. It's not brain surgery.
It's really not, and that's what's cool about the AR. It's a very cool gun. So in the lieu of everything going to hell, get yourself armed. I'm all for people buying guns. I'm not complaining. That's fine. If the demand goes up, the prices do. But at the same time, I suppose that's one thing that could come out of all this too, is just, because money's being made, that maybe there's going to be more deals. Like you said, Palmetto right now has a Corona deal or whatever.
Yeah, they did. I just looked this afternoon and they were sold out of that stuff. They still got some really good deals. I'll tell you another good deal, folks. Right now, I've been doing lots of studies for looking for this guy, John, to get him some more weaponry and stuff. But Daytona Tactical is doing some pretty good deals right now too.
Right.
Again, we're not affiliated with them. We're not sponsored by them. Hey, Daytona, if you want to sponsor our show, we'd really appreciate it. We'll talk about you more. And actually, I have a Daytona Tactical AR-10 kit coming to me. I'm going to make one of those scary ghost guns, maybe. I don't know. But I think after I build it, I'm gonna lose it in a lake.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
But
as with most of your other firearms.
Oh yeah, all of them. So we'll be letting you know. Like, maybe I'll do kind of a mini review on it or something on the show.
That's not bad.
And let you know what I think about it. I'm curious to see how their barrels are. I'm just taking a shot in the dark with them. I've never tried Daytona. They got some really good deals, but I'm wondering what kind of MOA I can get out of their stock barrel. I've heard good things. So if I'm not like out of a stock, like is because it's a pretty affordable barrel, I'm not expecting MOA. I'm expecting maybe 2. But we'll see. We'll see. Your barrel is one of your most important aspects for accuracy in an AR. Whether that be the 5.56 or the NATO, the 308. So if you spend a little bit more down the line, see what you can do is you can buy a very affordable AR and then spend like $200-300 down the line for a better barrel, and then you got something. Then you got something special.
Right. Well, I'm gonna skip the AR and I'm just gonna get an 870 shotgun with a 12-time scope on it real quick.
An 870 shotgun with a scope. Is it a rifled slug gun?
No. I mean, well, a 12-time scope would be useless with a slug anyway. Like, you're not going to have the velocity for that.
Right.
No way.
Probably not. No, you'd be more like 4 times. It'd be better for a scope.
Oh yeah.
There's certain states back east, and that's the reason why I asked if it's a rifled slug gun. That's the only thing you can hunt with, like deer hunt. You can't hunt with a rifle in certain
what the
states.
hell, man?
Seriously? What it is that they're so densely populated, like back in like the eastern states, to where there's these small patches of land that you can deer hunt on, but they don't want the bullets traveling very far. So they made it a law, like parts of Massachusetts, you can hunt deer, but you have to use a rifled slug gun. So it's still a shotgun, and it shoots a slug, but it spins it just like rifling does.
Yeah. So that's why
so now
and rifled barrels.
Yeah. So basically, it limits you to like 150 yards.
That's some dumb shit. I mean,
well,
sure, but...
you got to understand the population density, though. I can understand.
If it was like stacked with animals, yeah, okay, I guess. I mean,
well, it's not the animal population I'm talking about. It's the other people right next door.
Oh, okay.
See, so you might only have like a 3-acre plot of land that you're hunting on.
Well, safety wise, I'm a sucker for safety. I love that stuff.
Yeah. So that's why they have like that back in Massachusetts and stuff. You can't hunt with like a 308 or 30-06 because it'll go like miles.
Right.
Exactly.
Keep going. Speaking of, I actually did my first hunt, which it's kind of sad to say that, but yeah, I actually only have been like hunting where I was holding the gun, once in my life. Well, actually, I take it back. I actually went rabbit hunting with IT here, but that's different. It's just
cool. You guys went rabbit hunting? You get anything?
No, actually, we didn't find anything. It wasn't anything for miles. I got a good photo of myself, though. Maybe I'll pull that up.
Well, was that pretty recent, or?
No, it was like a few years ago.
It was like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
I'll have to take you guys down Largo sometime. We'll find you some rabbits.
Right.
A little late in the year now, though. It's rabbit hunting's the best time is in the wintertime.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of... I can't really find that, but that's okay.
Were you looking for the picture of a bunny?
I was looking for a picture of my retarded ass in my ACU holding a pump. But yeah, that's not gonna happen today. But anyways, yeah, we didn't find anything. But yeah, it was in the wrong time of year. That's what you're saying. It was like, well, we were bored. Like, I think we were waiting for like our games to download.
Yeah, and his dad suggested we did it or whatever.
Yeah, like I was just sitting there. I was like, well, it was kind of something I wanted to do. So I was like,
yeah, I can't remember. It was so long ago.
Yeah, right. And I was like, well, might as well, because I had just gotten like that gun and everything. So
duck season,
duck season,
duck season, wabbit season, duck season, wabbit season.
Looking like a double wide supreme.
Yeah. Double wide surprise.
That's another one. There's this video on YouTube by Meat Canyon.
Very, very interesting artist. I enjoy his work because it's just so surreal.
Yeah, it's like Bugs Bunny finally grabs Elmer Fudd by the cheeks.
Yeah.
So
dang.
It's
pretty raunchy, but it's a good time.
We can stop this, Bugs. But it's kind of funny. It's like we talked about all the Corona shit like at the beginning because, well, we know pretty much as everybody else does, especially like New Mexicans.
Blind, yeah.
Yeah, like we literally have nothing to say that isn't just rumors and smoke.
Well, they did. We didn't mention really. We kind of did, but so they have completely quarantined off California and New York.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
Washington, isn't Washington under quarantine?
Washington too, yes. And just like we said earlier, like with the LA riots and stuff, I really do think that there's going to be some crazy stuff happen because of this. Because when, Uncle Earl doesn't have his teepee and he gets mad and then he goes out and in the street and all this stuff, I really think that we're going to see some riots.
Mm-hmm. That wouldn't surprise me, honestly.
Looting, riots, I mean, it's all just given. With that amount of people anywhere, you got New York, you got all that.
Right.
You're just going to have, I mean, with population, you have bad apples. And the more people you have, the more bad apples you have.
Ooh.
So...
M88 ball on here, boys, for 33 cents a round, 5.56.
That's not bad.
Cool.
Selway Omri.
Oh, jeez.
Just so you folks know, if you buy M88 ball and it's the green tips, if they have green tips, that means they're armor piercing.
Yeah.
Right.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and amazing. But yeah, that's the thing I was talking about. It's like, I think we're going to be okay here. Like, I really don't. I couldn't see looting going on. Like, somebody said, like, oh, the Dollar General's been looted. But again, like, that's why I'm not sharing that rumor anymore and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And, like, it wasn't really a looting. It was more just somebody broke in and stole some shit. It wasn't looting, you know what I mean? Like, looting is like that chaotic, people are like running in and like mass and like taking everything, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's looting. This was like
a
group of like 5 people ran in and started stealing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not looting. That's just robbery. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just theft. And... and that started to go around, and then, like, of course, the Kirtland school didn't really burn down or anything. It just was on fire. I guess.
It was.
It wasn't even on fire. It's just somebody tried to start a fire, from what I understand. And so it's like, all this stuff going on, and then that's the night everybody was like, "Oh my god!" and started flipping their shit. So it's like, at the same time, I don't think there's going to be looting here. There's no way. I mean, well. If things get desperate enough, yes.
I was going to say it depends on how bad things get, John, because if people get desperate, I mean, again, look at the faces of those people and farmers. And that was because they was afraid they weren't going to get what little they, because they have. Right. So you'd go, say, 2 or 3 weeks in, or say it's a 14-day, say we do go to like a 14-day quarantine. And at the end of the 14 days, the government says, oh, we're going to have to do another 14. People will lose their crap.
Right. Yeah, that would be bad. That'd be really bad.
It'd be real bad.
You're going to see some shit go down.
Yeah.
But I did, speaking of that, I saw a meme, and it was like divorce lawyers rubbing their hands in glee because everyone's going to be quarantined with their partner,
And, I also heard jokes saying that there's going to be a lot of December babies.
Yeah?
Yeah, there will be.
Like, there's nothing to do. Spank mama.
Well, that's the truth of it. Like, anytime there's been anything, like back in the day, all the, most babies are born in the summer because what would people do when they were snowed in their little cabin?
Exactly.
That's why
there was nothing to do.
I didn't care if they didn't give a shit if the kids were downstairs. If there was stairs, if there was a freaking more than one room.
There ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind.
Go back to sleep, son.
Go back to sleep. Dad, what are you doing to Mom? She's screaming.
We're having a wrestling match. It's okay.
Right. But, like, in that same token,
would you like a brother?
Would you like a brother? Sorry, brother machine broke. You get sister.
Yeah.
Took
the brother out the child.
But it's a wonderful bit of, I got an airplane.
I was gonna say the alphabet boys are flying over your house.
You just hear slow
boom. John, hello, John. Yeah.
The disconnect noise.
John? John,
Okay.
you guys start calling me. It's just like, nope. They nuke
like,
Farmington. It's like,
right.
Nobody's home.
nope.
Nobody's home.
Like right on my freaking house.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be funny.
You wouldn't feel
like
much.
it's like that wouldn't even bother me. Quite
You
literally.
wouldn't even know if a nuke hit or not. It'd just be boop.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh hi God.
I think I'm gonna do that now. IT. When I go to heaven, I'm gonna say, "Yattahe, God."
Yattahe, God. God's gonna be like, the hell did you just say? He's like, the angels are trying to decrypt what the hell you just said.
Yeah. This
Because,
language hasn't been spoken since our time.
How the hell did you know ancient Hebrew?
It'd be like, wait a minute. I thought the code talkers died off a long time ago.
It's like every Glani is an angel in disguise. Just inspecting just inspecting if you'll actually give to the poor or not. You got $1, bro? No, you failed the test. You're going to hell.
You are dead.
You are dead.
Dang. And demonetized if we ever made money.
That's not a racial thing, is it?
Glani?
Glani is just a drunkard in Navajo.
That's true, but
it's not like I said the N-word in Navajo.
N-word in Navajo?
Kind of.
Well,
we'll talk about it later.
Genetic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, it's like genetic, but it's not even like the N-word. It's just like it's like a it's like cabron,
Right.
or it's just like that general whatever.
Not even supposed to call them Navajo, John. They're supposed to call them the Dene.
Oh, that's right, the Dene, the Chine. Just kidding.
Well, we're rolling on about 2 hours now, so.
All right, so I mean, if we want to go ahead and I suppose start wrapping things up.
Yeah, I think we're rambling now, anyways.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you, everyone who joined. If you're still listening, it was a pleasure. I enjoyed doing it from the home, but I also kind of also enjoyed doing it from the bunker as well. So we'll probably switch back and forth as necessary and find the middle ground.
If our bunker ever opens back up after the Rona's gone.
Yeah, so we might be doing this for a while. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, I guess I'll. How do we want to do that? So, I'll thank you, Lord, for bringing us here this evening, and thank you for your overpouring blessings. I pray for the United States, Lord. I pray for China. I pray for peace, and I pray for understanding. Lord, if it be your will that this all goes down now, let it happen. But Lord, protect us and protect our families in this moment of trial. Lord, I hope you ease people's minds. I pray for easy rest and peace among everyone tonight. Lord, please just protect us. That's my main thing, is just protect us, Lord, in your holy name. Don't let us become sick or ill, Lord. Protect us from the plans of the New World Order and things that are coming, Lord. All evil must bow to your name. Amen. Thank you, Lord. Let's just go ahead and I think I hear something. Wait a minute. I think the broadcast is being interrupted a bit. Oh, dear. Anyways, good night.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Pennsylvania State Police Department. An unidentified virus string is rapidly spreading across the state of Pennsylvania. The first reports of the virus are believed to have been in State College. The virus has since spread throughout the state of Pennsylvania. It is believed that it will spread to adjacent states within the next 12 hours. Symptoms of this virus include initial nausea and vomiting, blurred vision, loss of muscle control, and unconsciousness. State College is also reporting that some of the affected persons are turning into zombie-like creatures. At any time, they may start causing massive damage to the area. Because this is an airborne virus, authorities recommend that the following action should be taken by all members of the public. Stay indoors, if at all possible. Turn off all heating and air conditioning systems. Wear breathing masks to prevent catching the virus. Have enough food and water supplies for sheltering for 1 to 2 weeks. If you catch this virus and show symptoms of turning into a zombie, you will be quarantined in your home for an indefinite period of time. Any residents not in the state of Pennsylvania hearing this message should also take these precautionary actions. If the virus continues to spread, these actions will be taken by your governments as well. Most importantly, stay safe in this situation. Unruly behavior will not be tolerated. You will be arrested.